9 out of 10 women sitting in a room are bloated right now. That is not a guess. That is the finding of a study presented at the Menopause Society's 2025 annual meeting. 94% of women between 44 and 73 reported digestive symptoms, with bloating the most common of all. And if you are one of them, if your stomach swells by the afternoon, if you feel full before the meal is half finished, if you wake up flat and go to bed looking 6 months pregnant, then what I am about to tell you has been sitting in a medical journal while your doctor handed you a list of foods to avoid. And if you had a meal in the last few hours, the process I am describing is happening in your body right now. You have probably already tried everything. You cut out bread, you eliminated dairy, you removed beans, then onions, then garlic, then coffee. You took fiber supplements and digestive enzymes and probiotics from the pharmacy shelf. Some days were better, most were not. You still bloat. Still inflate by evening like a slow tire leak. You sit across from your doctor and she says the same thing every time. Irritable bowel syndrome. Low-FODMAP diet. Come back if it gets worse. But here's the part nobody tells you clearly enough. Your bloating is not coming from your gut. Your gut is just the alarm going off. The fire is somewhere else entirely. And the organ your doctor is not checking is the one that has been quietly collapsing since the moment your hormones began to shift. That is the whole point of this video. If you want health information explained in plain language with no drama and no sugarcoating, subscribe and hit like right now. I am building this channel on the information that should be in every consultation room, but never is. By the end of what follows, you will understand exactly what is happening in your body, why the standard advice makes the bloating worse over time, and what to do about it tonight. I need to demolish a belief you have held for years, possibly decades. The belief is this: bloating is a digestive problem. Fix your gut and the bloating goes away. You believe this because everyone in your life confirms it. Your doctor ran a stool test or ordered a colonoscopy, found nothing serious, and concluded the problem is functional, which is the medical system's way of saying we can see the symptom but not the cause, so we will blame what you eat. The internet confirms it. Every article about bloating says the same things. Avoid gas-producing foods, take a probiotic, eat more slowly, drink more water, try low-FODMAP. You have done all of these. The bloating is still there. Here is the truth that Teesside University researchers uncovered and presented at the 2025 annual meeting of the Menopause Society. Of the 564 women in that study who reported digestive symptoms, 82% said their bloating either started or dramatically worsened during the menopause transition, not gradually over decades. During menopause. That timing is not a coincidence. It is a confession. The gut is not the origin. The hormones are. And while that belief has been sitting unchallenged in waiting rooms across the country, estrogen has been silently dismantling the one system inside your gut that kept bloating from happening in the first place. Every year since your hormones began shifting. Every single year. Think of your gut lining like the non-stick coating on a high-quality pan. When the coating is intact, nothing sticks. Food moves through cleanly, nutrients absorb efficiently, gas escapes without building pressure. The moment that coating gets scratched by inflammation, by disruption, by the loss of the hormonal signal that maintains it, everything starts sticking. Food ferments where it should not. Gas builds where it cannot escape. Pressure accumulates until your stomach becomes a drum by dinner time. That coating needs estrogen to stay intact. And nobody told you that. Nobody in that 12-minute appointment connected your swelling abdomen to your declining hormones because the gastroenterologist treats the gut and the gynecologist treats the hormones. And in most medical systems, the two rooms never speak to each other. To understand what is really happening inside your body, you need to understand a system that most doctors have never mentioned to you by name. Deep inside your gut lives a community of bacteria with one job that your body depends on in ways science is only beginning to fully measure. These bacteria are collectively called the estrobolome. That means the specific group of gut microbes responsible for metabolizing and recycling estrogen through your body. Here's how the system works. Your liver processes estrogen, tags it for disposal, and sends it toward your intestine to be eliminated. Under normal circumstances, your estrobolome intercepts that outgoing estrogen, strips the disposal tag off it, and recirculates it back into your bloodstream. Active, usable, yours again. The estrobolome is essentially a recycling plant for your own hormones. It keeps circulating estrogen available to your tissues, including the tissues that line your gut wall. Picture a water treatment facility sitting on a river. Clean water flows in, the facility filters and processes it, and clean water flows back out for the community to use. The whole town depends on that plant without knowing it exists. When the plant shuts down, the river is gone. What comes out is not clean water, it is whatever is left when the filtration stops. That is your estrobolome when estrogen declines. As estrogen drops during perimenopause and menopause, two things happen simultaneously. First, the estrobolome shrinks. The bacteria that perform the recycling function begin to die off because estrogen itself is what keeps them fed and thriving. Research published in the journal M Systems in 2022, led by researchers at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, confirmed that menopause is associated with measurable changes in the estrobolome. Reduced bacterial diversity, reduced enzyme activity, reduced estrogen recycling. Second, and this is the mechanism nobody explains, the gut lining begins to lose its structural integrity. Estrogen receptors line your intestinal wall. When estrogen falls, those receptors go quiet. The cells they regulate stop maintaining themselves as tightly. The spaces between intestinal cells widen slightly. Researchers call this increased intestinal permeability. Your body calls it something that needs to be felt to be believed. Most people miss what I'm about to say. What happens in a gut with a degraded lining is not simply more bloating, it is a cascade. Food that was previously digested quickly now moves through more slowly. Because the muscle contractions that push food along your digestive tract, called peristalsis, are partly regulated by estrogen. Slow peristalsis means food ferments. Fermentation produces gas. Gas produces pressure. Pressure produces the swelling that starts in your lower abdomen by early afternoon and climbs upward through the evening until you are unbuttoning your waistband in the restaurant bathroom, wondering what you ate wrong when the answer has nothing to do with what you ate. Research published in the journal Gut found that women have measurably slower gut transit times than men, and that this difference accelerates significantly after menopause. The same meal that took 30 hours to transit at 45 can take 50 hours or more at 58. Longer transit time means longer fermentation time. More gas, more pressure, more bloating. Not because you ate the wrong thing, because your gut lost the hormone that kept it moving at the right speed. After 50, this process runs 2 to 3 times faster than it did at 40. The estrobolome that took years to degrade in your 40s can collapse significantly within months during the menopause transition. The same woman who had occasional bloating at 45 can have daily, visible distension by 52. Not because her diet changed, but because her gut lost its hormonal scaffolding. How old are you? Write it in the comments. I want to see exactly which stage of this process this audience is navigating, because it shapes everything I cover next. I want to tell you about one of my patients. I will call her Helen. Helen was 57, the kind of woman who had managed her health carefully her whole life, tracked every symptom, kept a food diary for 3 years, and still could not find the pattern. Thorough, determined, and quietly exhausted by how little the system had given her in return for all that effort. When she first came in, she placed a notebook on my desk. Columns, dates, meals, symptoms, severity on a scale of 1 to 10. 3 years of data. She had eliminated gluten, then dairy, then eggs, then nightshades. She was currently surviving on what she described as the most boring diet of any human being alive. Boiled chicken, steamed carrots, white rice. She still bloated every single afternoon. Still woke at 3 in the morning with cramping. Still felt her stomach fill with what she called cement by 7 in the evening. Like something inside her was solidifying. She had been told irritable bowel syndrome at 53. She had been given a low-FODMAP handout she had already memorized. She had been referred to a dietitian, a gastroenterologist, and back to her general practitioner in a circle that had been going for 4 years. Every organ tested. Every test returned normal. Verdict, functional, unexplained, learn to manage it. When I asked about her menopause timeline, something changed in her face. She said, "Nobody has ever asked me that before." Her bloating had begun at 52. Her last period was at 51. The timing was not a coincidence. I did not need another test to understand the direction. I referred Helen to a specialist with expertise in menopausal gut health and requested a comprehensive stool analysis. Not a standard colonoscopy, but a functional test that assesses microbial diversity, estrobolome activity, and intestinal permeability markers. The results showed severe reduction in the bacterial populations responsible for estrogen recycling. Her gut lining was showing early permeability changes. Her estrobolome was operating at a fraction of its previous capacity. Helen did not need another list of foods to cut out. She needed her gut's hormonal scaffolding restored. 6 months after beginning a targeted protocol, addressed in the next section, Helen sent me a message. 4 sentences. Bloating, gone 3 days out of 5. Waistband, normal by evening. Sleep, uninterrupted 4 nights a week. She wrote, "I put the food diary away. I do not need it anymore." 4 sentences. Exact. Measurable. Real. What happened to Helen is not rare. In my practice, I see this pattern every single week. A woman who has been faithfully treating her gut for a problem that was never in her gut. Now, here is the practical part. What you can actually do. I call this the Hormone Anchor, a 2-part daily system built on the research we have just covered. It does not require a prescription, it does not require expensive supplements, and does not require you to eliminate another food from a life that has already been stripped down far enough. Before we begin, one test you can run right now, no equipment needed. It is called the beet test. Tonight, eat a portion of cooked or raw beetroot, roughly the size of your fist. Note the time. Then watch your toilet over the next 24 to 72 hours. The red pigment in beetroot, called betalain, that means a natural plant compound that colors your stool a distinctive pink or red, passes through your digestive system without being absorbed. When you see the color in the toilet, note the time again. A healthy gut transit time is 12 to 24 hours. If you are seeing red at 36, 48, or 72 hours, your gut is moving food significantly more slowly than it should. That is the physical evidence of the slowed peristalsis we discussed. Not a food intolerance. Not irritable bowel. A gut that has lost its estrogen signal. Part 1 of the Hormone Anchor is what happens in the morning, before you eat anything. Stand upright and walk for 10 minutes before breakfast. Not vigorous exercise. A slow, deliberate walk around your home or outside. Here is what is happening physiologically. Walking stimulates the vagus nerve. That means the long nerve running from your brainstem down through your chest into your abdomen, which controls the speed of digestion and the contraction rhythm of your gut wall. Estrogen normally keeps this nerve well stimulated. When estrogen falls, the vagus nerve becomes sluggish and gut contraction slow. Walking before eating reactivates that nerve pathway in a measurable way. A 10-minute walk before breakfast can reduce the afternoon bloating that begins with that first meal. It costs nothing. It takes 10 minutes. It starts tonight. Begin tomorrow morning. The second morning step is 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar in a glass of water before your first meal. Not to alkalize, not to detoxify. Those are marketing words. The mechanism is precise. Apple cider vinegar stimulates stomach acid production, which your stomach needs to begin breaking food down efficiently before it reaches the fermentation-prone lower gut. As estrogen falls, stomach acid production also declines, which means food arrives in the small intestine less digested and ferments faster. 1 tablespoon in water before the first meal, every morning. Here is the part most people never reach because they stopped watching too early. Part 2 of the Hormone Anchor is what you add and remove from your evening. The food that is feeding your bloating most reliably is not gluten and not dairy. It is alcohol, specifically evening wine, which a significant proportion of women over 50 use as a relaxation ritual, and which directly suppresses the intestinal muscle contractions needed to move gas out of the colon overnight. One glass of wine at dinner produces measurably slower overnight gut motility in women over 50 compared to younger women. The gas that should transit and exit during the night instead sits and builds pressure. You wake and by mid-morning you are already inflating. The connection is rarely made because the wine was 8 hours before the bloating. The gap hides the cause. What you add is fermented food, not the heated, shelf-stable kind, but the refrigerated live culture variety. Raw sauerkraut, plain kefir, or kimchi. One small serving daily. These foods introduce lactobacillus strains that research published in the journal Nutrients in 2024 showed can partially restore estrobolome diversity in postmenopausal women. Not fully, not overnight, but measurably. Within 6 to 8 weeks of consistent daily use, women in that trial showed increased microbial diversity and reduced bloating scores compared to control groups. The anti-pharma reality that will not appear in your next appointment. Only 33% of women in the 2025 Menopause Society study had received a formal IBS diagnosis, despite 94% reporting symptoms. Over half found the professional care they received inadequate. The most common prescription given for menopausal bloating, antispasmodic medications and low-FODMAP dietary restrictions, does not address the estrobolome. It silences the alarm without investigating the fire. And a Case Western Reserve University study presented at the American College of Gastroenterology found that women prescribed HRT were 75% more likely to develop new IBS symptoms than women not on HRT. The hormonal management of menopause itself, in its current standard form, may be making the gut worse. And no one is telling you that at the consultation. Here is exactly what to do tonight. Step 1. Eat a fist-sized portion of cooked beetroot tonight and note the time. This is your baseline gut transit test. Step 2. Buy 1 jar of refrigerated sauerkraut or plain kefir tomorrow and begin 1 serving daily. With lunch, not dinner. Step 3. Tomorrow morning, walk 10 minutes before breakfast. No gym, no equipment, no commitment beyond 10 minutes before your first meal. 3 actions. Tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. No elimination, no restriction, no new diagnosis required. Let me give you the 3 things to carry away from everything we covered today. First, 94% of women over 50 who bloat are not failing their diet. They are experiencing a hormonal collapse that their medical team is not trained to connect to their gut symptoms. The bloating is real. The cause is systemic. The gut is the alarm, not the fire. Second, the estrobolome, your gut's estrogen recycling system, is the missing piece in almost every conversation about menopausal bloating. When it collapses, gut motility slows, the gut lining weakens, and food ferments at every stage. No elimination diet fixes this. Rebuilding the estrobolome does. Third, the hormone anchor. Morning walk, morning apple cider vinegar, daily fermented food, and eliminating evening alcohol addresses the actual mechanism, not the symptom. Your gastroenterologist gets paid to investigate your gut. Your gynecologist gets paid to manage your hormones. I make nothing when both rooms finally talk to each other and you stop needing either one. If you recognized yourself in Helen's story, the food diary, the list of eliminations, the steadily shrinking diet, and the bloating that stayed anyway, do not wait for the next appointment to circle the same ground. Bring the word estrobolome to that appointment. Ask directly, has anyone assessed my gut bacteria in the context of my hormonal transition? Watch what happens when you ask a question they did not expect. Send this video to a woman you know who has been told her bloating is IBS and given a list of foods to avoid. You may have just given her the first real explanation she has received in years. Subscribe to this channel and hit like. help this information reach the women who need it.